Peace, what up YouTube? It's Tata Nazako, and today's video is when should you get initiated into traditions like Palo, Mayombe, Santeria, Ifa, or Voodoo. I'm gonna try to make this video short because I got a lot of videos to knock out, but I wanna definitely make this one short. But a lot of people come to me often and they ask me if they should be initiated into a particular tradition, whether it be Palo, Santeria, or Ifa, or Voodoo, or whatever. And my answer to them is usually you will know when it's time to get initiated into any tradition because you will be called to it. Sometimes people become interested in African traditional religion or African traditional spirituality, and when they do, it becomes a burning desire in their mind. It becomes something that they cannot stop thinking about. It becomes something that they continue to research, investigate. It becomes a situation where you tend to attract and gravitate towards people in circles of people who are affiliated with African traditional religion. It starts to take over your life. This is when you know that you're being called to a particular path. This is one of the things that you can definitely pinpoint as an indication that you're being called to a particular path. When you feel that burning desire. I have a client right now. Every day he asks me about Palo initiation. He has a burning desire to be a Palero. He has a burning desire to be initiated. One of the reasons I feel that he is not being, the road is not opened up is because he still needs to grow. A part of him still wants to get into the tradition for the wrong reasons. And as I do my part to help bring balance to the community, I refuse to initiate at this time people who have the wrong intent behind wanting to be initiated. I suggest that people over time read my website, read other websites, do as much research as possible, and find out entirely what it is that you can and cannot do in each tradition before you decide to take a step of initiation into that tradition. You got people who want to be witches, yet they go and they get initiated into Ifa and they go and get initiated into Santeria, when those religions are not necessarily supposed to be used on a level of sorcery. They're not considered sorcery. Whereas a tradition like Palo is considered sorcery. It's considered witchcraft. You know, in Palo you can work spells for good or for evil, which is all a point of view, right? But from what I have learned, people who are in Santeria, people who are in Orisha, Ifa, they don't approach the Orisha that way. They don't. Every time I have ever made an Ebo to an Orisha, through an Orisha priest or a Babalawo or whoever, it was never an intent to target no particular person. It was not like, okay, I'm sending Shango to hit this person, or I'm sending Ogun to hit this person. It was more so like, man, Shango, take care of all of my hidden enemies. Take care of anybody that's trying to do bad to me. Take care of anybody that's this. No targeted person, no person targeted specifically. Okay, no person targeted specifically, but man, Shango's a god. If I ask the Babalawo or the Orisha priest, you know, if he says that I need to make a bow to this particular Orisha, and I do, it was never in the context of, well, who's your enemy? What's his name? Give me his picture. Let's target him specifically. Let's send Shango at him specifically, or let's send Ogun at him specifically. It was never like that. It was always take care of whatever ain't right. So if a nigga out there on bullshit, guess what? Shango coming to see him. Ogun coming to see him. It was never, you know, let's hit this person. Whereas in Palo was more like, man, you shooting at a person. You're literally shooting at a person. You're shooting spirits of a particular quality and energy at a person to cause change in their life or to control their life in some type of way. Palo is more along the lines of witchcraft. Ifa, again, you're working with the Orisha, but you're working with the Orisha through the Orisha Erumela, and through Erumela's wisdom and his Odu and the Odu of Ifa, you are guided towards a higher path of spirituality where your life can flow. You're no longer making decisions you're no longer making decisions, whether physically or spiritually, based on ego, but you're making your decisions and you're moving through life based on the wisdom of Ifa, which allows you to ultimately achieve your highest destiny, the Eri, the blessings that Ifa has for you. Okay? Again, voodoo. I'm not an initiator of voodoo, so I can't speak heavily on voodoo. But from what I've gathered, what I've learned, people can be targeted for a specific purpose or whatnot. But there is a high level of spirituality within voodoo. There is a balance. There is the lower level. There are different families of loa that one can be initiated into if they have a particular temperament towards that quality of energy. Same with Palo. Palo's the same way. Like, you can, it's really all based upon the temperament of the individual. You know what I mean? A lot of people get into Orisha and Santeria and start calling themselves brujos and brujas and witches and all of this kind of stuff, and that's really not what Santeria or Ifa is for. You know what I'm saying? How I know is because a lot of the sorcerers who I know who have fucked up so bad in Palo that they now got to run to Orisha to balance it out, because they've done so much negative and evil sorcery that now the spirits are unpleased with them in such a way that they need to go get an Orisha to balance out that energy, to balance out that karma. Okay? This is just based on my own observation. I'm not asking for anybody to believe what I'm saying, you know what I mean, as if it's the gospel or whatever. I'm just telling you from my own experience, from my own journey, from my own observation. This is what I've observed. People tend to need to become initiated when they are in a crisis. When a person tends to, like recently now, a lot of people have been coming in contact with other spiritual workers. They've been coming in contact with people who practice. More and more people across the country are becoming affiliated with these particular traditions, with these practices, and they're starting to use them more so in secret than out in the open against normal everyday people. And I'm getting people who are coming to me who find themselves in these spiritual battles, these spiritual wars. And they don't even know that they're in a spiritual war. A person will come to me, receive a cleaning, and then a couple of weeks later, a month later, they back experiencing the same thing again. And the reason is because the person who is causing them, the person who they have a problem with in their life is a practitioner. Or they're going to a practitioner. And they're going to this practitioner over and over again because they don't see results of what it is that they're doing manifested in a person's life. Why? Because the person is coming to somebody like me to break it up and clean it up. So that person, what I suggest at that time, when I see a person going through that type of situation, and they start looking at the fact that, man, every time I get attacked, I got to come to you and spend money. Every time I get attacked, you got to do this for me. Every time I get attacked, then at that point, I'm like, yeah, it's time for you to get initiated. This crisis that you're going through is because it's time for you to connect. It's time for you to fully connect. It's one thing to be a root worker, make your jars, do your things in the freezer and all that stuff. It's one thing to use all of that stuff. But when you start working in the traditions where you make agreements and treaties with certain spirits to be able to operate in the spiritual realm on a certain level, it's different. You're in a different ball game at that point. You're in a different ball game at that point. So when you start to get initiated, when you go towards initiation and traditions like Palo and Voodoo and whatnot, or even Orisha, you going into these traditions receiving now a higher ache, a higher power, a higher energy, which now comes and works and walks with you. You see what I mean? So when I see, I got clients, and I got a few clients who are in situations where they're in spiritual struggles back and forth with people, it's time for them to get initiated. Or they can just keep paying me to do the work for them. But usually when you get initiated, then that's when you start learning how to do the work yourself. That's when you come into the Munanzo and you learn how to do the work yourself. You know what I mean? And then usually if you do need an elder or somebody who is more experienced in the tradition to do the work for you, they charge you a small licencia, but it's not nothing like you going to shop for spiritual work on the internet because you having continuous problems. You're going to drain yourself that way. Once you realize you're in a spiritual conflict, you might as well start thinking about initiation into a tradition because it ain't going nowhere. There is no one trabajo. There is no one spell. There is no one anything that can knock a person off the face of the earth in one try. There's very few people. I'm not saying that there's nobody out here that can do that. I'm just saying that there's very few people out here with that type of power. If there was, people like myself wouldn't be here. Other spiritualists who online getting into it with people every day wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, you know what I mean? It'd be anarchy out here. If people was walking around here with the ability to be able to knock people off spiritually at will, it'd be anarchy out here. You know how many people will be trying to covet that power and learn that power? You understand what I'm saying? And people would not be out here bragging on YouTube and social media about how powerful they are. Those type of people who do shit like that don't brag about what kind of power they got. You will never know that they got that kind of power. They ain't got to say shit. They ain't got to say nothing. You talk shit about them, next thing you know, the shit. You with the shits now. Now you're dealing with some shit. They not going to even tell you that they got a beef with you. That's the thing. You know, so when you find yourself in one of those type of situations where you are dealing with a spiritual battle, a spiritual struggle, yeah, it's time for initiation. If you feel as though that the spirits are calling you because you keep dreaming about them and you keep thinking about them, you keep researching them, and you cannot let go of this interest in a particular tradition, whether it be Palo, Santeria, Voodoo, you cannot let go of your interest in that tradition. You become almost obsessed with learning. It's time for initiation. If you go and get a reading from one of those particular people or practitioners or priests in those traditions, and they tell you that you need initiation, the best thing to do is to go get a second opinion. To go get a second opinion. And the only reason I say go get a second opinion is because you do have some priests and priestesses out here who make a living off of initiating other people into the religions, into the traditions. You have people out here who, you know, we all get paid a licencia for what it is that we do. So we initiate, we charge a licencia, regardless if the licencia or the derecho donation does not cover, regardless if there's money left over after we get everything we need for the ceremony, that money left over goes towards the licencia, the work involved in doing the ceremony, the ritual, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So we do get paid from initiation, but people who focus on collecting godchildren so that they can keep having a big payday, you want to go get a second opinion on. So if I tell a person, I remember one time I told one of my clients years ago, client went and defected, went to one of my enemies, lied on me to the enemy. That's neither here nor there. But either way, I was helping out this particular client. I told the client, he's like, man, why my life going this way? Why my life going this way? I simply seen it. I told him, I said, look, man, you need to be initiated in Palo. You know what I mean? I gave him a very discounted price because he was complaining about his money situation. He was complaining about his life falling apart before his eyes. All of these different things. I offered him to do the initiation for him, that I would cover the rest of the cost, everything, to try to help this brother. The brother went to the white man on my ass. Real talk. I'm just going to call it what the fuck it is, man. The brother went to the white man, who is a palero, went to the white man. The white man is my enemy. He don't like me. He don't want to see me making videos, don't want to see me on the internet, don't want to see me repping Palo. And basically told this dude all this crazy stuff about me that was not true. And then guess what ended up happening? White man told him that he needed to be initiated in Palo. So he got his second opinion indirectly. He didn't know he was about to get a second opinion, but the white man told him, yo, you need to do the same, you know what I'm saying? You need to get initiated. Your life is fucked up. Your life ain't gonna get better until you get initiated. Same fucking thing I told him. You went and fucked up a good friend in me to go run off to the white man to tell on me, you know what I mean, on some BS, and then he ended up telling you the same thing and then charged you $1,500, and you can't even fucking get in there, you can't even afford him. But now, I don't trust you in my house, so I would never fucking initiate you. Not if your ass was on fire. Would I even spit on your ass? So, you know what I mean? Like, it's situations like that where if you go and get a reading done from a priest or priestess and they say that you need initiation, there have been times that I have went and gotten readings from people in different traditions and they said they actually directed me to another tradition. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not one, outside of ATR, I don't really talk about other things that I'm into. Like, I'm not one, only traditions that really were, you know, traditions like Palo, Ifa, Santeria, do everybody, you know, people are like, well, who's you initiated from, and who's this, and who's that, and who's this, and what lineage is this, and what, to other things that they don't bother with that. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather keep, at this point, because of who I am on the internet, my shit is private. Like, I don't give a fuck who you is on the internet. If you want to know who, what I'm initiated into, what I'm a part of, if I'm authentic, come see me face to face. I ain't got time for all this internet bullshit. But there have been times where certain priests in other traditions, who I went and got a reading from, told me the spirits of that tradition referred me to another tradition. Like, you need to be starting off right there, then you need to go to that, then you need to go to that. You know what I mean? And that's because that person was not trying to just get money out of me. He didn't give a fuck if I came and got initiated with him or not. He was good. But he was telling me, look, you know what I'm saying? This spirit must really like you, because usually it wouldn't even act like this. Usually it'd just, man, if you wasn't ready to deal with it, it'll eat you up and to just let you get initiated, eat you up. But this spirit likes you. So it's saying, look, go learn how to deal with that first, then come back and deal with this. You know what I mean? That happens. There have been times people have come to me and they have asked me, can they work Palo? They came to me because they were interested in learning how to work Palo the way I practice. And I told them that Palo ain't for them. Palo is not their path. That Orisha was their path. You know what I mean? Specifically the Yoruba path of Orisha, not the Lukumi. Okay? See, because there's certain points where, depending upon your lineage and what you're connected to in your blood, Ifa may say, look, you got to go get Ifa, but you got to go get Ifa Lukumi. Or you got to go get Ifa, but you only can get Ifa in Nigeria. Based on where your lineage and your blood connection flows through. You see what I'm saying? And what you're connected to. 9 times out of 10, if you're a Palero and you want to go and make Orisha, then you're going to go through the Lukumi. 9 times out of 10. Okay? But you got a lot of people who are going into Orisha, and they're going into Orisha because it's a fad, because they see everybody else going into it. And then more people are wanting more power in their life. So they feel like, oh, I'm going to get this Orisha, I'm going to get Oshun on me, and then she's going to bless me with money and men and all of these other things and all this other stuff. And they really get into it for the wrong reasons. These traditions are lifelong paths of learning. Nobody knows it all. I don't give a fuck if you've been around 70 years. You do not know it all. My padrino has been practicing these African or Afro-Cuban spiritual traditions for about 75 years. For about 75 years. Probably more than that. And he still acknowledges that he don't know it all. So people, when they be bragging to me about their 20, 30 years, that shit don't mean nothing to me. Because you could do something wrong for 20 and 30 years. I know people right now sitting up in the church, black people, worshiping a white Jesus on the damn cross for fucking 40 years and ain't got nowhere in life. Yeah, they've been doing it for 40 years. They probably master worshipers of fucking Jesus Christ. But what the fuck is changing in their life? Nothing. Nothing. They still the same fucked up people. They still doing the same fucked up shit. They just been worshiping Jesus for 40 years. Same shit applies to people in the traditions from my perspective, from my point of view. I'm not saying that because these people got 20, 30 years worth of fucking ATR under their belt that they're invalid or nothing like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is The moment you start walking around like, oh, I got 30 years, I got 20 years, that don't mean shit. That's motherfucking 30 revolutions around the sun. That ain't shit. When you really think about it and break it down, that ain't shit. That just means that the earth went around the sun 30 times while you was learning the tradition. 30 times? That ain't shit compared to how many times the earth has been around the sun. So when you talk about time, time is irrelevant. I know people who have been in this tradition and been in these traditions for less than a year. And these people have tapped in, plugged in, and are fucking way more powerful than people that I know that been in it 20, 30 years. Spirits and orishas and Nkisis are communicating with them and talking to them. They whole world lit up. And I know I'm looking at a person that's sitting over here, been there 25 years, and they can't get off of cigarettes. And broke. And fucked up. And they sitting over there with the biggest ego in the world. I got 20 years. I got 30 years. But yeah, you're bragging about that shit? Like, look at your fucking life and you bragging about 30 years. So you mean to tell me that that's all you've accomplished in the whole 30 years that you've been practicing Palo and Orisha and all of this? That's all you can accomplish in 30 years? Okay. That is my example. That's my clear sign that time don't mean shit. All that time I've been in and all don't mean nothing. It may mean something in that you have had the time to remember all of the ceremonies and the prayers and the, you know, the academics of the whole of the tradition. Yeah, you've been in it long enough where you can probably got all that shit memorized. But as far as what you're doing on a spiritual level, are you growing on a spiritual level? If you've been in these traditions 30 years, 20 years, 40 years, whatever, and you still out here cursing people because of your ego, you ain't grown no fucking well. You ain't went no motherfucking well. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't went no motherfucking well. If you sitting there doing that, you're not growing. You understand what I'm saying? You're not growing. These are people who came into the traditions for the wrong reasons and had an opportunity to grow. Don't be one of them people. Don't be ready to join any of these traditions unless you're ready to go all in. Because you're going to learn slow. I'm telling you right now. You're going to learn slow. Only reason I was able to achieve in 10 years would take most people 20 years to achieve is because I doubled up. I doubled up. I did shit that other priests and priestesses and initiates were not doing. I went all the fuck in. I put my faith on the table. Here it is, goddammit. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be this for the rest of my life. Boom. Manifest it. Now this is what I do for my life. This is my life. You know what I'm saying? I wake up, I eat, sleep, shit, breathe the traditions. And I'm constantly on a path of learning. Never once will you see me on here with my chest poked out like, oh, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this. I don't give a fuck about none of them goddamn titles. At the end of the day, who give a fuck about a title? You get into it with a motherfucker today in this society, man, you might get your motherfucking head blown off. Where's the Orisha or the Mfumbe or the Nkisi when you done pissed off the wrong person and they run up on your ass in the street? Exactly. So this is why I walk around humble. I ain't got to walk around with a loud mouth talking about, oh, I'm this, I can do this to you. And I ain't saying shit. I ain't telling you nothing. I can't do nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? I can't do a motherfucking thing to you. You can believe I'm fake. You can believe whatever the fuck you want. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care. I'm not finna walk around with my chest poked out because the Mpungo, the deities, the Orisha, they will humble your ass. They may let you get away with doing that shit for 10 years straight. They may let you get deep in spiritual debt with the bullshit that you do in these traditions until one day they get tired of that shit and they just move your ass out the motherfucking way. They move your ass out the fucking way. So, you know, when you think about getting initiated into these traditions, you better be ready. Don't get initiated And don't get initiated with nobody that you can't learn from every day. Don't get initiated from nobody you can't learn from every day. If a person initiating you, for example, if you get initiated with a person who, let's say, in Voodoo, speaks French or speaks the Creole, right? And you don't speak it at all, nor do you have a person or people around you who speak both Creole and English, where they can at least tell you what the teacher's saying, what your person's saying, what your priest is saying. You ain't got no way of learning from them, really. Now you got to go out and learn the language. You see what I'm saying? If you really want to learn. My situation was different. I didn't grow up Spanish. I didn't grow up knowing Spanish or anything like that. You know what I mean? But I learned, which I'm gonna do another video on that, because everybody been asking me how have I been able to learn the tradition without being fluent in Spanish, because everybody's using language as a means to say this is only for us because we speak this language, and that's bullshit. It got nothing to do with being fluent in no motherfucking language, and I will show you. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Only reason you want to be fluent in the language is so you can speak to everybody else in the community. At the end of the day, it's about being able to speak what you need to speak to the spirits that you speak into. That's all the fuck it matters. If you know the prayers, if you know the chants, if you know the symbols, if you know what certain things mean, that's all you need to know. You may sit up and watch me in the temple, right? You may sit up and watch me in the temple, and a person might be standing there talking in straight Spanish. They going in. And I may lean over to a brother or a sister who speaks Spanish and English. I mean, what did they just say? And be like, oh, they just said this. You know, they was talking about blah, 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 blah. I don't know what they said. But I go right in front of that nganga and recite a whole prayer in Spanish and Kikongo. And the person that just translated for me looking like, well, nigga, why you just have me fucking ask you what they said if you can speak? Look, I ain't make it my business to get fluent enough to talk to that nigga. I made it my business to get fluent enough to talk to that. That's all the fuck I care about talking to. That's just like when you watch a movie and you see the little white girl in the movie finna do her little magic, her little witchcraft. She pull up her little grimoire. She speaks straight English. But when she started doing her incantations, when she started doing her invocations, and she started calling on the spirits, her little ass is speaking what? 9 times out of 10 is Latin. She don't speak no motherfucking Latin. She ain't talking to nobody to speak Latin fluently. But when it's time to do that work, she going, boom, she can speak that Latin. It's the same principle. Don't let these people fool you into thinking that you cannot learn this tradition or any of these traditions simply because you do not speak the language. That's bullshit. I am living motherfucking proof that that is bullshit. And I don't give a fuck what they say. Oh, how he's going to be a Palo? He's not even fluent in Spanish. Bitch, because I ain't got to be fluent in Spanish. Motherfucker, I'm fluent in Palo. And whatever Palo requires for me to know and say and speak in order to get it to work, that's what the fuck I'm going to learn. If I can't talk to your ass, then so be it. But I'm going to talk to that Nganga, and it's going to know what the fuck I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? So don't let these people fool you into thinking that you got to be fluent in Spanish or Creole and to practice, you know what I'm saying, or even be fluent in Yoruba to be able to practice Ifa and all that. No. All you got to do is learn the prayers. I watched a little boy at the Ifa temple. Look, young cat, up and coming Babalawo. Watch him at the Ifa temple. Boy don't speak no damn Igbe. He don't speak no damn Yoruba. He don't speak none of that. But he went in front of SU, and that boy rolled them prayers off like it wasn't nothing. He rolled them prayers off as if he was fluent in Yoruba. Asked him to go have a conversation with an African straight from Nigeria. He couldn't do it. But if you heard him talking to SU, you would have thought that boy was born right in Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? So consider these things when you're going into these traditions. Consider the fact that you want to be able to learn from somebody who can preferably speak English and the native language. That way you can learn better what you need to say to the spirit. Don't become so overwhelmed with the idea that, oh, I can't learn that because I'm not fluent in Spanish. I got to go take a whole Spanish class. I got to go take a whole French class. I got to go do this. I got to go do it. You ain't got to do none of that. Long as the person you're learning from is able to speak 2 dialects, at least. Okay? English and whatever the dialect is that's dominant in that tradition, then you can learn. Because they're going to say, look, when you go before this, this is the prayer you say. This is what you say. And it actually means this. When you're saying this, this is what it means. This is what you're saying to the spirit. You see what I'm saying? They explain that. All you got to do is go to fuck home and practice the shit until you fucking memorize it. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is go there and practice it. Most of the chants and shit that we say in Palo is on YouTube. You know what I mean? Most of the mambos that we say is on YouTube. The problem is most people don't know which ones is for which, and most people don't even know what the mambos are saying. You understand what I'm saying? So, if you had to ask me, when should you get initiated into into Palo Mayombe, Santeria, Ifa, or Voodoo? I would have to say when a situation requires it. When your personal life situation requires it. When your life says it's time for me, or it's time for you to get some help. It's time for you to plug into this. It's time for you to tap into this. It's time for you to reconnect to this. You're dealing with this situation. God has sent a helping hand in his Orisha. God has sent a helping hand in his Nkisi. God has brought down the laws of his Loa and said that you need to tap into the laws of the Loa so that you can learn how to protect yourself because you're in a situation. Or you need to deal with this and connect with your ancestors because you're in a situation. Don't get initiated into these traditions because you want to learn how to fucking dominate your girlfriend, dominate your boyfriend because you think you're going to plug in and you're going to win the lotto and all that other bullshit, or you're going to get super magical powers that's going to allow you to destroy people with the snap of your finger and all that. If you got that kind of shit in your mind, then you might as well go play with some of that European ceremonial magic shit for the next 10 years. Because even that, most people think that that's not real, but that stuff is very real, but it just takes a very long time for you to develop yourself. So if you want to become that type of person and get developed in that, then you need to go and you need to practice that. I personally am a ceremonial magician. I practice Goetic magic as well as Hermetic magic and Kabbalah. So I am very familiar with the Lesser Key of Solomon. I'm very familiar with Solomonic magic. I'm very familiar with Enochian magic. I'm very familiar with all of these different forms of ceremonial magic. So I do know that these particular systems are valid and they do work, but they do take a great deal of aptitude and development on the person who is practicing in order to become an adept. But as far as practicing Palo, Santeria, Ifa, Voodoo, you know what I mean? These particular traditions are for bringing balance to a person's life. That's the purpose, is to bring back the balance, to change a person's fate, to allow them to flow through life. You know what I'm saying? To remove obstacles, to be able to overcome challenges and things of this nature, and also defeat enemies. You know what I mean? Sometimes the lady at work that you keep motherfucking arguing with every time you go to work and stressing you out when you go to work, and you got to go home stressed out and yelling at your kids because this lady at work or this dude at work is pissing you off, then goddamn it, sometimes instead of going into work and smacking the shit out of that person, you might just want to go give that person to the Loa. You might just want to ask the Orisha to remove any negative people around you at work that are stressing you out and just let the Orisha go to work. Or you might want to go to the Nkisi and tell the Nkisi to make that bitch get fired. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may just be like that. Sometimes you need to deal with situations like that. We don't just go around doing shit to people because we can. I don't like his videos. I'm gonna close his roads. I don't like the fact that people are talking to him, or I don't like the fact that I'm not doing what he's doing, or I don't like the fact that he's black, or I don't like the fact that, yeah, when you start down a path of doing shit like that, eventually that shit catch up with you. You may defeat a few people, and that may be the spirit's way of letting you feel like you being victorious. You may be like, oh yeah, you know, I sent my Santeria at this person and this happened to them, or I sent my Zarabanda at this person and that happened to them, or I used Kobayende to make this person sick and they died. And you may do all of that shit a few times. You may get away with that shit, but eventually the law of the universe says that for every action there is an equal opposite reaction. So everything that you put out there is gonna come back to you. It may not come back to you from the same person that you sent it to. It may come back to you 4 years from now. Person may have beef with me today. I may decide to get the fuck off the internet because I didn't won the lottery for fucking $10 million and I really don't give a fuck about the internet no more. I'm going to live a beautiful life. I don't want to be on the internet no more. I'm gone. Same person on the internet threatening, I mean not threatening, but bragging. You see what happened to Tata so-and-so? You know, that's what happens when you fuck with me, blah, 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 this and that. Don't even realize I'm out here living my best life. You know what I'm saying? But all that shit that they put out there, trying to destroy my life, now comes back to them in the form of another opponent. Somebody who may be more knowledgeable, somebody who may be more stronger. Sometimes the people rise up when they get tired of people like that. When the word get around and people become tyrants, what happened to tyrants? Tyrants are usually destroyed and killed by their own people. So when people want to be tyrants online and think that they this and they that, that's why I stay humble, man. I ain't on here calling out nobody's names. I ain't responding to no beef. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You make a video about me, thanks for the promotion. Say my name in the video, thanks for the promotion. I really don't give a fuck about responding to none of that negative ass, monkey ass bullshit. And that's just the truth. That shit is low level to me, low class bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to brag about making no money. I don't need to brag about what's going on in my life. It ain't nobody motherfucking business what's going on in my life. All you gonna get from me is these videos. All you gonna get from me is these blog articles. All you gonna get from me is these Facebook lives and these Instagram lives. That's all you gonna get from me. And motherfucker call my phone to me, so how's you doing? How's your marriage? How's this? None of your fucking business. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but that ain't none of your business. What do you want? You know what I'm saying? What do you want? You want to read or not? Because I got to go. Don't worry about what the fuck going on in my life. You know what I mean? And that's how you got to be on this internet. And that's how you got to be when you in these traditions. You got to be more private, because what happens is a lot of people, and I said I was going to make this video short. I'm damn near going on 40 minutes. What happens is when you get involved in these communities, you start falling into the circles of people in these communities. And when you fall into the circles of people in these communities, you're going to come across some people who ain't going to like your swag. You're going to come across some people who don't like your energy. You're going to come across some people who going to have disagreements with you. And you know what they going to do when they ain't got the balls to walk up to you and tell you how they really feel? They're going to run to them pots. They're going to run to them Ngangas. They're going to run to them Orisha pots. They're going to run to the Loa. They're going to run to this. They're going to run to that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to run to, instead of exhausting and trying to deal with all of their problems in a normal way and going to the spirit when it is absolutely necessary, they go to the spirit for everything. That bitch came into the motherfucking Bembe thinking she looked better than everybody. Look at her. I got all the men around her. She got all the men around her. Watch, I'm finna go tell SU to block all that. I'm finna go to my Palo friend and ask him, can he close her roads, or can he do this, or can he do that? All because you don't like that she fine and she came into the Bembe and all the men looking at her. Mortal shit. That's mortal, low-level fucking bullshit. If you want the type of attention and energy that she got, then you need to go and embody Oshun, leave Oshun some ebo, and tell Oshun to bring that energy into your life. That's how you do that. Ain't no reason to hate on her. Let her be your inspiration. Let her be your inspiration. Don't fucking go down a dark path and start fucking up your blessings because you want to hate on somebody who Oshun chose to shine her light on. This is that fucking mortal shit. You see? So this is I'm saying all of this because everybody want to get into these traditions. Don't get into these traditions for the wrong reasons. Don't get into them for the wrong reasons. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I got more videos to make. I want to appreciate y'all for definitely watching, and like and subscribe to this video if you felt everything that I was saying in here. If you want to get a book consultation from me, you got a situation you're dealing with, you can click all the links in the description of this video. Every way to get in contact with me, every way to book a consultation with me. If you want to follow me on my other social media channels, if you want to simply submit a question to my website, just click the link below. I'll be happy to talk to you. I want to appreciate y'all for watching. It's Tata Nazako. Salam alaikum. Malaikum salam.